Hello there. What is up, you guys? It's Valatelli here, and welcome back to Let's Catch a Vibe. Now, I hope everyone's feeling great, feeling amazing, feeling vibey. Another great episode. So, pretty much you guys are here for my review on episode 5 of Moon Knight. Again, it's going to be in the thumbnail, contains spoilers. Pretty much this was aired about an hour ago. At the time of this recording, it was aired about an hour ago, about half 10 in the morning. So yeah, this is going to be out quite early. But anyway, guys, follow us on... I can't just get my words out. Following us on from episode 4 last week, pretty much we are met with the I keep forgetting what her name is, but anyway, we catch up with the hippopotamus goddess. Pretty much from what I remember, my base knowledge, she is the goddess of fertility and childbirth. She also helps people. She also helps ferry people across the duet to the Osiris gates to be judged. So pretty much we end up finding out that she pretty much explains to Mark and Stephen what's happening, that they're in the underworld and that they're pretty much waiting to be judged, pretty much. So yeah, we find all these doors with all these memories, because pretty much to stop the scales from, because once the scales are balanced, they'll be allowed through to the field of reeds. If the scales aren't balanced by a certain amount of time, their souls will be sucked into the duat. So pretty much we end up going on an adventure where we find out about bit more backstory about Mark and Stephen. So yeah, pretty much we end up going to find out that I'm trying to remember this in order now. Yeah, pretty much we end up getting a bit of backstory where we find out that Mark was abused when he was younger. Now, this stems from a scene that we see earlier on where they're going through like a canteen area, and all these dead bodies, like zombified, are sitting in these chairs. And then we find out pretty much it's everyone that Mark Spector killed when he was a mercenary. So he explains, you know, there's people in Egypt, there was a guy from Dubai, there was a guy from New York, London. So yeah, pretty much we end up finding out. And then there's a little boy in the background, and Stephen's like, why is there a little boy in your room of all the people you've killed? He ends up running off. Mark chases Stephen down, and pretty much it brings us to this flashback where we find out that Mark Spector had a brother, and he lived with his mom and father, which are Jewish, I believe. And then we end up finding out that they end up going on this little bit of a walk. It starts to rain, and Stephen says, the brother says to Mark, we're not supposed to go in the cave when it's raining. He says, stop being a baby. They end up running into this cave. Pretty much, long story short, the brother drowns. Obviously, Mark doesn't feel too good about it, obviously. We end up coming to this bit of a funeral where the mother has literally broken. She literally is broken. She blames Mark for taking her son in there, for taking her son away. And then we end up finding out that after that, she stopped attending birthdays. She just stayed upstairs. I'm assuming she used to be drinking and stuff like that, because she looked really, really distraught. We do see in one scene that she's carrying like a little bit of a decanter with probably like some, I don't know, alcohol in there or whatever. And yeah, we end up finding out that she used to beat Mark. And through her beating Mark and being abusive to Mark, he developed Stephen. He developed Stephen Grant as an alternate personality to deal with the grief of being beaten and stuff like that. So pretty much we come to that conclusion, and obviously Stephen's like, so you created me as a way to deal with the abuse. Obviously we get a bit of a flash forward where we find out that you know, obviously Mark's still in this like mental hospital or the asylum. I forgot to mention that the episode is called The Asylum. But anyway, we end up finding out that he's still talking to Arthur Harrow, and he sees stuff in the background, and we see a golden head statue or head sculpt of Sekhmet. So yeah, pretty much following the same vein. Is it in his head? Is it not in his head? But anyway, moving on from that, we end up finding out a bit more about you know, Stephen's mother, and then we end up finding out that Stephen's mother did die, or Mark's mother did die. And pretty much he just never got to deal with it. So anytime he felt like grief or anything, he'd just switch to Stephen, so he just wouldn't have to feel that grief, which is pretty, you know, which is pretty mad if you think about it, because it goes from having like an imaginary friend to dissociative identity. And that's how we find out also that when his mother passed recently enough in that history, that's when he couldn't keep the personalities in check. That's when the dissociative disorder came in, so he ended up expanding his personality. So that's how we find out that we see Stephen a lot more than we see Stephen before we see Mark, which is pretty crazy. Again, moving on, we get more memories. I'm trying to think, what was another memory we had? Yeah, we get more memories. We also get explanation that they are on the boat of the duat. They are on the boat, and they're on the way to the doors of Osiris. Again, we end up finding out that the hippo goddess, takes their hearts out and puts them on the scale with the feather. Now, like I said earlier, they have to balance for them to be, judged correctly. We do get a bit of a flashback scene of how Mark Spector became Moon Knight, which is pretty crazy. We end up finding out that obviously he went into the army, and then he ended up getting kicked out and became a mercenary. He ended up hooking up with an old friend called Raoul Bushman. They don't say Raoul, but his name's Bushman. So we end up finding out that history. So I'm glad they clarified it was Raoul Bushman. They end up going on this archaeological dig, probably as security or just to help out. And then obviously, shit hits the fan, as history tells us. Layla's father ended up getting killed, which Mark tried to prevent. We end up seeing Mark's bloody body crawl to the temple of Khonshu. And then we get Khonshu infamously saying, be my hand of vengeance. Hurt people that are going to hurt people in the night. The worst of the worst people that are going. So pretty much you be an avenger of the night, basically, like Batman kind of thing. But, yeah, we get this bit of a cool suit-up scene, which I wanted to see, where he actually first gets the powers and becomes Moon Knight, which is pretty damn cool. But, yeah, other than that, it was literally just going through memories in this episode, which is really, really cool. I don't want to spoil all of them. I'll just go through the main ones. But then after that, we end up finding out that a bit of a fight breaks out towards the end, where they're trying to get towards the gates of Osiris. And, spoiler, Stephen gets kicked overboard. Now, pretty much, Stephen gets trapped, because obviously souls in the Duat Sands, they get trapped. We end up finding out that the scales are now balanced. So then we end up finding out that Mark goes to the field of reeds. So he actually goes to the afterlife, while Stephen got trapped in the Duat Sands, which is pretty damn crazy. So I'm actually excited, really, really excited. I have been excited for the series anyway, but really, really excited to see the next episode. But yeah, other than that, we got a cool suit-up scene of a bit of his origin. We found out a bit of a room where, Mark had killed all these people and his journey. We found out that Stephen was pretty much a dissociative identity. So he was made up to deal with the grief of, his mother being abusive to him and hitting him, which was really crazy if you think about it, because some people do deal with grief that way. They end up snapping. Some people just can't take it. Some people just can't take it. But yeah, really, really strong episode. Again, love the visuals, especially when we're in the duat going through on the boat. Visuals, the chemistry between the actors, the acting itself. Really, really good. Really, really good. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button. If you didn't enjoy the video, let me know in the comments down below why you didn't like the video. Also, did you like this episode? Did you find the pacing quite well? Did you find it boring because you didn't see Moon Knight? But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave this episode here. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and Team Let's Catch a Vibe. Also, if you are new, please don't forget to push on the bell notifications to get notified as soon as I upload. But more importantly, don't forget to stay vibey, and I'll catch you on the Reel of Reads. Peace. Cheese.